It's pretty good.
We've slaughtered a few people. Okay, we're all set. It is February 5th, 2013 at approximately 7:34, and I'd like to open the Zoning Board of Appeals hearing for 357 Central Street. This Board of Appeals will conduct this hearing in according to rules laid out in Chapter 40A of the General Laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Robert's Rules of Order, and its own particular set of rules entitled Rules of Procedure, a copy of which is on file with the town clerk. Another copy is available from the clerk at this meeting. This meeting is being tape recorded for the purposes of taking minutes, and once the minutes are approved, the tape may be taped over, and we're obviously on video as well. First, let me start by introducing the members of the board. This is Gina Tebow, is a regular member. Sharon Freeman is a regular member, and I'm Jeff Moore. I'm the acting chairman tonight. We have a few members missing, so as I mentioned earlier, this request for a special permit will require a unanimous vote of a three-member board. So if it gets to the point where you feel like you'd like to continue this hearing for another month to allow another member to participate in the hearing, we can probably grant you that as we move along. So we can discuss that later on if need be. Otherwise, we'd like to be able to proceed with this tonight. So can I have you read the legal notice,
Yes.
Gina, please? Thanks.
An application has been made by Michael and Tracy Zimorowski, owners of 357 Central Street, Georgetown map, Assessors map 9, Lot 4B in the RB district for a special permit for an accessory apartment. The owner originally applied for and received a building permit for a third garage and bedroom addition in 2005, which is now being used as an accessory apartment, which requires a special permit from the Zoning Board of Appeals under MGL 40A Section 9 and the Georgetown zoning bylaws, Chapter 165 through 9, 69, 78, and 79. A hearing will be held at the Georgetown Hall, 3rd floor meeting room, Tuesday, February 5th, 2013 at 7:30 p.m. ZBA file number 13-08.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, why don't you folks introduce yourselves and give us a little history of what's going on here, and this is just an overview of the whole project and what's going on, if you don't
Okay,
mind.
my name is Michael Zimorowski.
I'm Linda Zimorowski, his mother.
Currently reside at 357 Central Street in Georgetown. We decided to move to Georgetown in May of 2005. When we had first looked at the home, we saw the potential to build a garage with a bedroom over to make an accessory apartment. When we had gone through and got the building permit and gone through the whole process, once it was complete, we were on the impression that we had basically an in-law apartment. When I tried to refinance in the fall of 2012, the appraiser came out, they appraised the home. He had asked me if I had an occupancy permit, and I said, yeah, I think so. I had a copy of the building certificate with the signatures. And when I had faxed it into him, they said, well, no, there wasn't a final sign-off. We thought we were going through the process correctly. And then we found out we had to go to do a special appeal to the zoning board. That's when we decided to rectify the matter and to go through the process here to make sure that everything is, up to code and up to.
Okay. Anything else? I mean, so.
Like I said, we originally, when we did the addition, we had thought that by getting the building permit and getting everything signed off, we thought we were good to go, move in, and at that point, we thought we had an accessory apartment. And then just as time went along, we had refinanced in the past, we had appraisers come out, and this last time, in the fall of 2012, when the appraiser came out, and he asked for an occupancy permit, and I said, yeah, no problem. And as I went to the paperwork, what I thought was, proof of the addition to the home, and that being a, in-law apartment, I had thought that we were, everything was okay. And then when we had found out that I had called the building department, he said, no, you have a permit for a garage, a bedroom with a garage over, and I said, yeah. He said, well, do you have a stove there? And I said, yeah. And then he said, well, if you have a stove there, you have to go for a special permit. And then that's when we had, went through this process here to rectify.
Who was that, the assessor or the building inspector?
The building inspector,
Yeah, it was John Mativier,
yes.
right, okay. Do we have some correspondence, Patty, that was not included with the,
Yeah, just the email from the building inspector there.
yeah, this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Want to read that in? Would you like it? That's into correspondence.
The email's from John
Oh, you got it?
Mativier, Monday, January 7th at 10:53 a.m. to Patty Patari regarding 357 Central Street. Says, Patty, thank you for my copy of the special permit application for 357 Central Street. I did notice the application is missing the front page of the original building permit. This is an important issue because it shows that the approved building permit was to construct a garage addition with a bedroom above. The approved permit application and associated plans did not show an accessory apartment.
Okay. Is there any other correspondence? I guess this included some plans that,
So is the
from the original application. I actually have the building.
Yeah,
file right
I
here.
pulled the old building file.
All right. At this
So-
point, oh, go ahead. I was gonna say, at this point, we generally ask for some comments from the audience, but there's nobody here, so for the record, there's no one in attendance in opposition or in favor, so we'll bypass that and move to any questions from the board, so knock us off.
Is this drawing what was filed with the original permit? That shows the bar and a card table and a refrigerator, sink.
This is a copy of the architect that we had hired to draw the plans. And I had forwarded a copy to you guys.
Where did that come from?
This one?
Yeah.
This came with that email that you just read, I believe. Is that correct, Patty?
So is that the original permit? Okay.
Oh, sorry.
All right, Yeah, I'm just,
When you filed in 2005.
Yeah, that's,
yeah, that's what, yeah,
and they're marked 2005 too, those are the plans. If you take that clip off too, it's bigger, you can see it.
Oh, so this is in here? I didn't,
No,
no.
no, that is the attachment that John included, I think, or you got.
No, I just
John.
copied that.
No, it's actually
Part
on
of the
page
orig-
3. It's on page 3. It's just, it's a
oh,
lot
yeah, yeah, oh,
bigger.
I saw it circled.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
page,
yep,
it's page
yes.
3. It's just bigger on that one if you need it.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah.
So it shows the refrigerator and the sink, it just doesn't show the stove.
So when you applied for a building permit, you actually applied for what, a bedroom?
On the permit, it
With
was,
an additional bedroom with a living area above the garage, is that?
right,
is
with
that
the
right?
intention of it being in an in-law apartment.
Because it certainly is an apartment if I look at it, I mean, it's clearly an
Yeah, I
apartment.
mean,
So-
I guess the whole thing, like, there was no, on our, but there wasn't any deceit, we weren't trying to hide anything, or if there was, I don't know if there was miscommunication. You know, looking at, that was our original intent, was to make that for my mother. Back in '05, like I said, did the permit, we had built, over the course of the fall going into the spring of '06, with everyone coming in. The only change, I know we had put a stove in, and that's where, when I had talked to the building inspector, that's where I guess it officially goes from another room to an official accessory apartment. You know, when we were going through the process and we had made the change, inspectors were coming in and out, signing off, and we thought we would, everything was
Fine.
copacetic.
But you didn't apply for an accessory apartment. You left the stove out of the plan originally.
Right, originally we
Even
didn't,
though you planned to live in it,
right,
left the
our
stove
first,
out to,
Well, the kitchen, their
For what
kitchen is
purpose,
right
like-
downstairs.
Our kitchen is
from-
right down. We didn't think we were gonna need it. And then as we were living there for a few months, we found that it was becoming difficult. She was kind of going up and down the stairs, and then we just said, why don't we just put a stove in, just to make her life easier, so she doesn't have to go up and down the stairs.
Cause their kitchen is
doubt
right,
about that.
there's a door and right down is their kitchen, and that was what we were gonna do.
So when the inspectors did their walkthroughs, the stove wasn't installed.
No, it was installed. It was there,
Everything was there.
You did the electrical inspection,
Yeah.
and then it was all in.
yeah.
At the time you were building it, you put the stove in. The time you built the
Right, but
addition.
we had the plans. These were done, I think, what's the date on there? May? Because once we purchased the home, I think June, we were talking to the architect. We liked the fact that it was, we were able to make one living space on one floor, so she wouldn't have to, as she got older, she wouldn't have to be going up and down stairs. That was one of the nice features that we liked about the home and before we decided to buy and, looking at prices, what it would cost to make the addition to the home. And as we had gone through it, she had been living with us for a few months, and then it was just become a little bit too difficult to kind of go up and down the stairs, cooking food or bringing a meal when she did need to use it, or she didn't want to inconvenience us. So we had put the stove in with, I guess, us being naive, didn't think that would totally change the outcome of it becoming an accessory apartment. We thought all along we were getting an in-law apartment.
So I don't understand how, I'm just
We're gonna have
confused
some
how
questions.
the inspectors came through and didn't question it, I guess is my thing.
Oh,
Usually you have a set of
I'm with
plans
you.
and,
Well,
I agree.
the other thing that I was surprised
Right
was
here.
there was no final sign off, or even like, I think it was Brett was the,
do we have that?
there was no like
What's that?
dates, because I was asking, like,
The
I don't
original
understand,
permit?
like,
Yeah, it's in there.
Application?
I have it.
I'm sorry.
it was water damaged.
That's the application.
It was on the window and the
original
condensation.
permit.
It's not this.
No, it's
The
actually-
original permit was
that got wet,
taped to the
yeah.
window,
I emailed
back,
last
so-
year.
and the condensation kind of made,
Oh, as they go through.
There's no sign off on the back from
there was
Yeah,
no
they
final
usually get-
signature.
Board of Health, Fire, or Building.
So, yeah, generally when you're done, you get a call for, who is the contractor on this?
It was inline construction.
Actually, it doesn't really matter, I'm not putting them on the hook.
Okay.
But you had a general contractor doing the.
I
work for
kind of
you?
ended up, well, to go back, when we originally, we first saw the house, we loved it. We said, my mother liked the fact that it was lots of windows, and we said, hey, let's see how much it's gonna cost to do it. So a friend of ours who's a builder, we go to him, and I can remember the conversation was yesterday, and I said, well, how much do you think it's gonna cost to put a bedroom in here, a kitchen, and a bathroom, in a garage? He goes, 40,000. We look at each other, well, 40,000, that seems very reasonable. Long story short, $130,000 later, we have the finished product. Obviously, a lot more than we expected to pay. And then when we had, everything was off, I don't know where I talked, I remember that I said, we good to go? And someone said, yeah. I didn't know if it was our responsibility to get a final sign off, or was the building inspector, because a lot of these people, I don't know, I can't recall if we had a call to have them come out, or they just came out on their own.
Well, generally, the
Yeah.
builder will call
Yeah,
when
your
that,
GC.
they know what's required to reach that next step, and you have to do, foundations, and then you have to every time. So when they're ready, they call for the inspection. Or generally, when they think they're gonna be ready, they call ahead, because it might take a day or two.
Yeah, the
And
contractor
they
will
scramble to make
call.
sure they're ready. But in any event, they call when they're ready. And then the inspector will have so many days to get out there and inspect, including the final. So when the permit is in your name, or was it in the contractor's name? I see,
I know, I pulled it,
Oled.
yeah.
But did you sign an affidavit, and I'm just curious, did you sign an affidavit for the town, or was it his? Usually there's an insurance issue, so it's either under his license or the
I
owner.
think it was they're actually no longer in business, but I remember, I don't know if that's the original,
It's a file, but I
of
don't.
Frank Carenti,
It's on here, Frank Carenti
was his,
Oh,
and
there it is on
something
this thing.
Willette. It's kind of crossed out, but
Robert Olet.
Robert
Bob
Willett.
Willett?
It was probably him and then you switched. You
Well,
can do
Bob
that.
Willett, he was
He was
originally,
the original, we were gonna have.
yeah,
him.
and then what was happening is,
And then
he
Frank.
came back, he was the guy that we were originally going with, he told us $40,000.
They came back
Okay.
with.
Then the
100 and-
plans were finalized, and we go, hey, you know, would you like to start, you know, tell me, and he comes back with a price of 100 and, so we're like, excuse me? So then it was like, geez, what are we gonna do? I mean, so then we ended up kind of shopping around, I said, you know, why don't I act as the GC? And, a friend of ours was gonna be able to do the framing and the foundation work, and then from there, we were able to, kind of sub out the electrical, the plumbing, you know, flooring, that
So-
type of stuff.
You and Frank together kind of were the GCs, or?
Yeah,
Was Frank just the licensed?
he was the
had
licensed
license,
one
okay.
of
Alright.
the inline construction.
Yeah, so they put the permit in both of your names. Is what the original permit is in your
Yeah.
name. Actually, it's you and Tracy M&T, right? Is that right?
Yeah, that's my wife, yeah,
Yeah.
M&T.
And the contractor, and then your contractor, you switched to Frank Correnti at some point,
That's
for
what-
whatever
we were gonna
reasons.
have Bob Willett.
I still
And then
Yeah.
at that point, he added his license number,
Maybe that's what
CIS.
happened.
Okay.
So, anyway, but he should have, if he was your contractor at that point, you know,
He
either
should've
you,
called.
well, one of you was supposed to call when the thing was complete and get an occupancy permit. But,
So the only thing you didn't sign off on was the final building and apply for the C of O. But still, electrical guy. Is it a gas stove or an electric stove?
Electric.
well,
I don't know. Can I see that?
clearly you gotta get that done.
Yeah, I mean,
Which will be.
technically, you're
okay.
not supposed to be living there until you have your certificate of occupancy, so you should still file for it.
Yeah, and if the code, anything in the code's changed, it's gonna have to be brought up to code, if anything.
And on the original, permit application, which is this one,
Mm-hmm.
I had asked Patty about this earlier today when I was reviewing this file. You did get the sign off of the other departments that were required, including, in my particular curiosity, was the Board of Health, to make sure that they actually reviewed the plans that you were adding a bedroom.
Yeah, I mean, I remember
For
coming
se-
in.
That's for septic purposes and everything else. So they signed it saying 9-room max, 4-bedroom, 9-room max. And I assume that means for the total property.
Right.
So your total, including what's now built as an accessory, does not exceed 4 bedrooms, is that correct?
Right.
And 9-room max, I don't know what the 9-room is, you must have more than 9 rooms, but
Yeah, I would feel like there'd be more than
you got 3 just in the addition. But,
Mm,
is that right or no?
9-room max. Depends how you count,
You kind of bathroom?
Mm,
no.
No.
So I just have a living room.
You have a living
One big
room.
room
How about kitchen? I don't know how
and
to
a
count them.
bedroom.
Yeah,
But they
depends.
signed off on these plans though, because these plans went with the permit, other than the fact
Yeah.
you didn't
I
have a
I
stove.
remember,
on,
I mean,
they signed
going
off
around
on
to the
that.
different,
No, you did, because you got it signed, so.
What seems really hokey to me is the fact that it said, like, your permit says garage, bedroom, and addition, which if I were reading that, I would think you were adding a garage with just a bedroom over it. But your plans specifically do show that you've got sink and refrigerator. So
It's a
I
kitchen.
feel like this should have been
You put a
flagged.
kitchen in and
You know
you
what I mean?
White it
Like,
out that the stove's not there or whatever, I don't know. But,
I just feel like that should have been flagged right away.
yeah.
So, I mean,
It's, to me, honestly,
doesn't make any sense.
it's an accessory, it was an accessory from the beginning. You've stated that you intended to have it as an accessory, and you wrote in your letter that you obviously intended to have a kitchen there, not a, whatever, what is this called, a bar area?
Bar.
And a card table. You intended to have a kitchen there.
right.
You applied, or should have applied for the kitchen. Why or how you ended up with a building permit for a room above with, a bedroom above with a living area and bar area, I'm not, I don't know how that, you went from this to saying that this is what it is, to expedite a process or something. I have no idea whether that was recommended or what, but it doesn't matter. I think, that this was always supposed to be an in-law, and why the building inspector didn't insist that you get a special permit from us at that time, I don't know what.
Yeah, I mean.
I don't know what conversations transpired, but
And then that's why we're trying to rectify it.
I understand that. but I don't know, did you have some other?
No, I feel like
don't
we
buy it.
can't. No, it seems
I
really
understand. I
like,
don't-
and
I
I'm not
believe
blaming
you,
you,
what
but
you're
it
saying.
seems just really the whole thing seems a little bit not right. But I don't think I can really say it was your fault because you didn't. The only thing you added was a stove. But if I were looking at this and I was the building inspector at the time, I'd say, well, this is not a bedroom above a garage. I mean, would you? I mean, that's what's so silly to me is, and that's why I feel like we can't really. I don't know.
Right, well, I mean, there was a lapse of, something that happened,
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure what it was. But
So-
the reason you come before, I'm sorry, Tina.
No, go ahead.
One of the reasons you come before the board for these type of projects, sort of for everybody's benefit, is that, accessory apartments are allowed provided you meet certain other conditions that aren't necessarily building code conditions, things like maintaining the single-family characteristic of the home, because this can't be a rentable property. If it's an in-law, it has to be, there has to be a family blood relative residing in there, which you have, and you've
Yeah,
been living there all along.
These are just, I'll just pass it over.
Sure.
These are just some pictures.
Right.
That was one of the things, when we worked with the architect, that I was really wanted it to look like one house. You didn't really tell
Right,
it.
and I would not argue that requirement has not been met, I'm just saying that.
No, yeah,
this
I
is
just
why
wanted to show
did
you
this
some
at the time.
visuals, just,
The code wants you to restrict the size of these things, which you've obviously done. You had an architect that designed this as an in-law apartment, meeting the requirements of an in-law apartment. Whether he knew to do it, or whether you asked him to do it, or whatever, it meets the dimensional requirements as far as size, and maintaining a single-family home. You get a separate egress and access point. It's clearly a separate apartment. Forget about the stove. I don't care if there's a stove in there or not. This is an apartment, and it always was.
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
That's what I
you
was
know,
saying,
so I don't know what the history was here, but that's why you come before this board, because there's things that we sort of more qualitative things that we're required to look at as part of the zoning code that the building inspector wouldn't look at or doesn't have the authority to look at in considering whether or not this project meets those criteria. And it's not difficult, and in my view, you've met them. As I review all the things you gotta have, I've looked at your plans, if you would come from square one and said, this is what we wanna do, we wouldn't even really be having much of a conversation, I don't think. Because this board has been fairly consistent in our review of these things. We've made a few errors along the way that I've been involved with, but generally, if you meet these criteria, we have not unreasonably withheld special permits for this purpose. So, we also generally will add restrictions so that you're aware that, and the town is aware, A, that your mom is living with you and that this is an accessory apartment, that it has to be a blood relative living there. It can't be a rental property at any point in time. And that this particular permit is gonna go with ownership, not the property. So if someone were to spend a lot of money building a big grandiose in-law, they've gotta be able to revert that back to a single-family home, because that permit is not gonna carry with the property. If you wanna sell it to a new owner, they would have to come back and apply all over again. You see that a lot in real estate ads, I say this all the time.
Oh, yeah.
In-law suite, you see it, and you can't sell something as an in-law suite, because at least in Georgetown, all the ones we've been involved with, those special permits are restricted to use, or excuse me, are restricted to ownership. As soon as that ownership changes, that permit goes away, and someone's gotta come back and file all over again. So, those are the reasons why you gotta come. I'm not scolding, I'm just
No,
saying.
no, yeah,
this
no,
is-
it's-
this
I
is-
didn't,
This is the
that-
purpose, so.
I didn't realize, just what you were saying, that was new
And
news to
I'm
me.
babbling on, but I know you've got other things you probably want to say too.
No.
No? Okay. Do you wanna look at these more?
I saw them. I'm okay. You said you've refinanced before.
Say that again? I'm
You've
sorry.
refinanced previously since
Yeah.
ownership, and it wasn't picked up then either. So it just seems like a
Yeah, I don't know, I
Yeah.
know in the past, people have come in and they
Yeah.
walk around, they take measurements and.
yeah. So,
I had a motion here somewhere. I buried it.
uh,
Oh, here it is, right in front of me.
Yeah, you might wanna take out number 3.
take
I don't
out
know.
3.
Unless, maybe, if he has to go back and get this inspected,
Bear
maybe,
with us
maybe
for
leave
just
it.
a second,
Yeah.
because we're gonna look at
You know
where-
how you
where
said
are.
that the electrical and specials should come back out?
Not the electrical,
I
the
mean,
building. The building has to have
Yeah,
a
so
final
maybe,
sign
maybe
off.
actually leave it in,
I mean, I'm assuming
yeah,
that's how it
or you
is
can put
with.
whatever you want on it.
Well, let me ask you, you've filled in fact, I know you have, because I asked John today, you filled in a new building application just recently, or it was in December or something.
For this application.
For this application,
Mhm.
for, is that right? Because I saw something in here that had page 2,
Yeah, if that.
and
if
it only
that-
had one signature on it so far.
If that had to go, if that was requirement of the appeals, then I would have filled it out.
Yeah, because
Not
everybody.
the original one, it was a new
Oh, right
one.
here.
That's
there it
it.
is,
That's
with the
only
two
page 2
signatures.
though, but I don't know that we ever got page 1. Is this it? Oh, that's all right.
This right here requires a.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's only the back page.
Yeah.
There should have been another page
Wait a minute,
that
I think
looked
he had the front
like
page in his,
this.
did he have the front page in his packet?
I didn't see it.
The front page came right here.
No, that's the original one, but that's what it should look like.
Oh.
So this is where I was getting confused. I saw this, which was the original permit, and then I saw this. And I
So,
said, wait a
yeah,
minute,
It's
these boards
sitting-
never signed off, but that's not
It's actually
true.
sitting in John's, he has a file.
The first
that
page
says
looks
denials,
something
and-
like this.
Yeah, the first page is
Okay.
that.
And then the back page, well, it's a blue, actually, it looks like this.
So,
It looks like
And
this.
it's
Yeah.
Sitting
You
in
filled out a new
John's
one of
office.
these.
This right here, yeah, is that it?
I don't
There
know.
it is, that's the new, cause see, these look
Yeah,
like the
okay.
state, those are the old building applications.
And on the back, what I'd like, well, what I would suggest you're required to go through this process again, which I think the
Okay, yeah.
building department's gonna make you do anyway.
See what that
Okay.
reads?
Do another one?
Well, you've already filled it in, but
Okay.
now you've gotta
Right
go
back.
to all the departments again with your new one.
So this
This is
is,
it?
that's what the new building application looks like.
Oh,
It
okay,
mirrors,
all right.
it mirrors the state, so it's a lot different than that old one. So he says, make,
So this goes with that.
see
with
the
this.
description though? And it says, yeah.
Add a garage with bedroom over, make existing living room into an in-law, all right. And this is what he denied you on. 'cause we
Yeah,
have a-
I
we
had
have
to
a
fill that
denial.
out to get a denial letter.
Yeah, that's right. All right. So what you're gonna have to do, and what I think we're gonna require you to do anyway, I think the building department's gonna
Well,
make you
that's
do
what
it.
I-
You gotta take this with your existing plans as built,
Yeah.
right?
which are these, right?
With the stove and whatever you got in there.
Yep.
Oh yeah, draw the stove in.
And you're gonna have to go, and this isn't us, he's gonna make you do this anyway.
Okay.
Go through the town departments again to make sure that they're in agreement with everything that should have been done the first time in consideration if this is an in-law. I don't think it's gonna make any difference, except, you know,
Anything code.
So
health
every,
department's gonna wanna take a look at your septic and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff
and I
again,
spoke
which
to-
they already did, cause they looked at your original plans. The stove doesn't make a difference on septic, so if it passed before, it's gonna pass again.
Okay.
But I'm not, you know, I wanna make sure that if we're gonna grant the use for the in-law, it's already built. Generally, we give you a permit for the use, then you go through the building process and do all of this. Well, you've already done something, which is basically an in-law, and now we're saying, yeah, go ahead and use it as an in-law, but I wanna make sure that everybody else has their chance to review what it is that you built
okay.
as an as-built. And John's gonna do that anyways.
Yeah,
I
when
know he's
he-
gonna make you do that.
What'll happen is, when you get the decision, whatever it may be, if it's approved, for example, if it's approved, and we get you the decision within a certain amount of time, after you get that, there's a 20-day period you have to wait, and then you get it recorded at the registry. When you bring that back, you bring back the zoning board a copy and the building inspector a copy, and then he'll give you that application that you filed with him to go get the rest of the sign.
Okay.
That's when you'll do that.
And you see down the bottom, there's a zoning board of appeals section with
Yeah.
a special permit number and all
And I
that.
I'll
And that
fill
would
that
have
in.
to be filled in before he's gonna send you to the rest of these. So that's why you're here first,
Okay.
okay? I think we should also make it clear that you require a final inspection, which I know,
John's
I know
gonna-
John's well aware of
yeah.
that too, so, but we can certainly just make note of it, I think. Where was
You
this?
can just add a number 3. It says, shall be inspected,
I'm gonna-
for
I
a
can't
final-
make
It's right
motions.
like,
Right there.
right at number 3, shall be
Oh, yeah,
inspected,
okay.
shall be inspected for final inspection. I'll just leave it, I don't know. You have to mark
Yep.
the sheet as an
Yeah.
exhibit too.
Because John's gonna want that.
Just wondering if you know anything else. Okay. So exhibit A is the,
The drawing.
is
Mm.
this, is
That
that
was
right?
in- okay.
Do you want this included in the decision?
Yeah, that's exhibit A. Or both. Do you want me to do it, or do you wanna do it?
Doesn't matter.
Is there anything else? Let's see.
This-
What about
Refuge.
review? I just wanna note that, hang on, sorry. Let's make this 3, 4, 5. The applicant requires a new building permit with department approvals, something like that.
We're not saying that there.
No, I
Well-
don't want him going to do a final on that. I want him
Oh.
doing this. I know he will anyway, but I'm just gonna note it.
Mm.
Bear with us for just a second,
Yeah.
we'll get this done and then move you guys along.
So hokey. Is the dishwasher shown too? Then that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know what was happening in 2005. We weren't here. That's why.
He had a couple different building inspectors.
Yeah, somebody missed something.
Okay, something like that. I'm saying basically,
Accessory
I'm
apartment for a
suggesting the
building.
accessory apartment requires a new building permit, including department approvals required by the building inspector, because these aren't all required, but he'll
Yeah.
determine which one, he usually
How about
puts an
any?
asterisk. Yeah, any, thank you. He'll usually indicate you gotta go get this, and this, okay? What he's gonna do, but I'll note it.
All right.
So you wanna read through that once before you can take your time and read through that before. make
Are
sure
you adding a
agree with it.
fifth condition, or just changing that one?
We're adding it-
Maybe 5 altogether, is that right?
Yeah, we're inserting a third. I'll give it to you.
Okay. I'll read 'em.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah, so do I hear a motion?
I would like to make a motion that the board vote to grant a special permit to Michael and Tracy Zimorowski of 357 Central Street, Georgetown, Mass. Under MGL Chapter 165, Sections 9, 69, and 79 for an accessory apartment and an existing dwelling for Mr. Zimorowski's mother, Linda Zimorowski, who shall occupy the accessory apartment. I also move the board finds the application meets the requirements of Chapter 165-69 A through G, and the addition does not exceed the greater of either 700 square feet or 33% of the livable floor area of the primary building. The addition has a total of 670 square feet. The board also finds that the application meets 165-79, being the requested use and alteration is essential or desirable to the public convenience and welfare, will not overload any public water or other municipal system so as to unduly subject any area to hazards affecting health, safety, or general welfare, will not impair the integrity or character of the district or adjoining districts, and will not cause an excess of that particular use which could be detrimental to the character of the neighborhood. The special permit shall have the following conditions. The accessory apartment only be occupied by relatives only, not to be used as a rental property, and the primary dwelling must be owner occupied per bylaw chapter 165, section 69B. 2, if the house is sold or transferred, the special permit lapses and the new owner must apply to the board for a new special permit. 3, accessory apartment requires a new building permit, including any department approvals required by the building inspector. 4, the apartment shall be inspected by the building inspector before occupancy per chapter 165-69D. And 5, floor plan layout marked as Exhibit A, marked as sheet number 3, drawn by David F. Jackwith, 8 Enon Street, Beverly, Mass. 01915, and dated June 6, 2005.
Okay, thanks. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on this? Or discussion?
Give it to Patty.
I think, you're kinda lucky that you meet all the requirements, cause if you didn't, you could be in a little bit of a rework situation to correct it, so, it's a lot easier to do this stuff up front, but I appreciate you coming back and getting this straightened out. So, you guys ready to vote? We gotta do a roll call vote, it does require unanimous vote. Like I said, I'll give you the opportunity at this point if you wanna continue. I usually will do a straw poll, I don't hear too many negative comments here, so, I don't think, does anybody have any?
Fine.
If you're vehemently opposed, you generally hear it during board discussion, and I don't hear any, so. That being said, Gina, how do you vote?
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
And the chairman votes yes, so, it's 3
Thank you very
in
much.
favor and 0 against. Please get this taken care of immediately, and, I do have to
Just
advise
read
you.
that, yeah.
Yeah, there's a 20-day appeal period. Following 14 days, the clerk has to file a written decision with the town clerk. Our clerk has to file a written decision with the town clerk. Patty generally would take a week or less.
Yeah, I'll have
generally.
it done by the end of the week, and
Yeah.
then they need to come and sign it.
So that'll get
and
filed with the town clerk, say by
Within
Monday at the latest.
So,
If you guys get to the
Tuesday.
station.
Yeah, we have to all sign it, and then it would get filed with the
And
town
then
clerk.
I have to get it filed with the town clerk. When that's stamped, I'll give you a call, and you gotta wait. I give you registry instructions, and then you gotta wait 20 days, and I'll write the date that you can go to the registry.
Mhm.
Go to the registry, get it recorded, and then bring it back to the town clerk. It gives you all the instructions. And then when you bring it back to the town clerk, you need to bring a copy to the building inspector, and that's when he'll have you get all the sign-offs.
okay,
You gotta wait the 20 days for the appeal period,
Yeah,
though.
so
The
you-
clock starts when she files it with the town clerk, not when
Right.
you file it with the county, with the registry of deeds.
okay.
Am I right on that?
Yep.
Yeah. So, you will not be able to get, as Patty just said, you can't go to the building inspector till that appeal period
Yeah, so it's gonna
expires,
be a
and
little bit.
she can keep you in touch with what that date is.
Okay.
Okay, and anybody who exercises their rights under appealed special permit does so at risk. I think you've pretty much absorbed all the risk already, since you've been in there for 5 years. And that's it. So, that being said, do you have any other questions for us at this point?
No, I thank you for your time.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Do I hear a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Hearing is closed. Thank you very
Adjourn,
much.
Chris.
Thank you.
Okay.
Chris, we're all set.